how are you? My name is Nick.
And Nick.
And this is Nick and Nick.
At night.
At night. Here we go. I missed my cue. Wow.
I just rolled with it.
I missed it. I apologize. Thank you for pulling the weight there, Nick. How you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good.
Are you?
Been pretty good, yeah.
How's service going? Church keeping you busy?
Yeah. I was here pretty late last night. So.
I hear you. Well, guys, we're so thankful that you're here. And before we get going, before we get started, I just want to say thank you to you guys for coming out each week. And for those of you watching afterwards, I think normally we have about 50 or 60 views after we do this. So that's pretty awesome. Although I think you're missing something if you're not here.
You're missing the fun, right? You know, that's what I keep saying. Sorry, I'm fixing my hair as I look like a curmudgeon. There we go. I still do.
He still looks like one. He's not fixing it. But
sorry.
Yeah, I mean, if you're missing something if you're not here, and
I think it's part of the fun, right? Like you get to be a part of the energy of it all, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think there's some things that we get an opportunity to interact with you guys. And here's what I'm going to challenge you to do real quick. I want you to send a text or a Facebook message if you're old enough to have a Facebook.
Seth Crosby has a Facebook.
Oh, well then everybody should if
right?
Seth does.
I'm just saying.
But send a text, give a phone call, and say, get on Nick and Nick at night.
It's part of the fun.
It's part of the fun.
Hey,
anyway,
I'm just saying. There's not a ton of other churches doing this. So, like...
There's not.
We're creative content creators. Creative
content creators.
Quality content.
Which is exactly why we're stealing other people's ideas and doing a try not to laugh challenge here in about 5 minutes.
Yeah. Flattery is the fine... Or, what is it? Mimicry is the finest form of flattery.
Yeah,
right?
copying or whatever. Anyway...
we know it works, so
we know
why
it works.
change it?
Why
right?
recreate the wheel?
Exactly.
So we're going to do that. I'm going to let you guys know that before we get into the major announcements, that there's a little update coming to one of our segments, Nick. And I think I told you about this. We did the hot seat a couple weeks ago with Austin McCormick, and we said, you know what? This needs a little something.
Oh yeah, you told me about this. I'm excited for this.
So I immediately went online last week and I got a hot sauce kit.
I'm ready.
That's got like 10 hot sauces going from like low to super hot.
Right.
We're kind of mimicking again the Hot Ones challenge, but we're going to use that as the hot seat.
I'm all for it.
So we want to know, who do you want to see on the hot seat? If you're watching now, throw it in the chat. If you're not watching now, post it in the comments below.
Caleb said he has some Texas Pete.
I think
we're going hot.
We might start on Texas Pete.
Yeah,
that might be where we begin. But we're going to be jumping up pretty quick after that, I think. So that's going to happen. I know the pastor has agreed to jump in on that challenge.
Hey, I heard that as well.
We'll bring him in at some point.
That would be pretty exciting.
As Caleb just said, he wants Matt. So that has already been floated. Ooh, he wants to see Caleb do it. Maybe we can get a Nelson Boy.
We don't even come, right?
We don't come. We just
It's just Caleb and Matt versus each other.
Yeah. Anyway. So after that, though, we do have a couple quick announcements. Let me just run through those real quick so we can get on with the show. The talent
This is a show?
This is a show.
Oh, my.
We are currently live.
Huh?
Fix your hair, dude.
Yeah, I know, right?
Dad versus son, I see Brady put up. Anyway, just in case you don't remember, we have a talent show coming up at the church. We have a group specifically for youth that's going to be fighting off against each other, challenging each other. If you're interested in doing it, submit a video by May 11th. And the show will be May 22nd. Why are you smiling?
Thank you, Caleb. This is a really nice pen. He said, nice pen, Boker, right? And it's the church pen. I can tell you, I'm going to speak from experience, right?
Tell me.
So, before church service every week, around 9 a.m., we have a morning meeting right before we go live. and all the pens in the front row of all the pews are like slowly disappearing because everyone like reaches back, grabs. We're taking notes, like we're going over everything
and just keeping them.
And like
you
have
guys
a stack
are the
of
ones
them.
stealing them.
Yeah, exactly. Like we're gonna be out of pens by the time Corona's over. We're all our way.
That's okay. We won't be able to use them anyway, according to the rules. But so that's happening next week. We are actually going to be sadly taking a break from streaming. It is Mother's Day, and we want to honor mothers. And since we're doing the Mother's Day service for church, which if you don't know, now you know, we're taking over. We decided to take that day off. So Nick and Nite will not be
will not be airing. We might re-air an episode.
Yeah,
we'll just re-air this week's episode next week. And it'll be like, everyone can be like, whoa.
Yeah, maybe we'll put something out there for people. Just to have, or maybe, I don't know, maybe we could pre-record something stupid. But anyway, no stream next week, just so you know. But we will be continuing after. And Nick asked me a question today, just right before we went live. He goes, Nick, when everything's fixed, what's going to happen to Nick and Nick at Nite? So you let us know what should happen to Nick and Nite. Should this be something that continues? Or should we just kind of, not in lieu of other things, but in addition potentially to other things? Because we're having fun doing it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
We're having good conversations. We love interacting with you guys. So let us know what you think. Other than that, I think let's do a quick prayer.
Oh, we got the Instagram, right?
Oh, yeah. We haven't done that.
He's completely skipping over.
We do
but
everything.
follow us on Insta, right? At hickory.flat.youth, right? Real easy to remember. We got the text tree, so text at HFUMYF to 81010.
Sounds good.
And that's it.
That's it?
That's it.
All right.
That's all I got.
Well, let's jump into some time of prayer. Boker, you are the prayer man here.
Yes, I am.
You have been nominated and given that responsibility. If you guys have any prayer requests, please do not hesitate to drop them in the chats. But also, if you need us anytime throughout the week, please don't hesitate to text us. I think something we want to make sure you guys still know is that we think about you consistently and we pray about you consistently, and we are still looking out for you guys. So
we miss you.
We do miss you. Like, I saw some of you guys coming through for a video earlier this week, and so, you know, every time I see some of your faces on the Zooms and stuff, it just makes me miss you guys. So just throwing it out there. Caleb says that Nick and Nite is a top tier program.
I think he's just trying to hype us up. I think he's a dirty liar.
Dirty liar, he says. But anyway, we'll figure it out. We'll get a way to go about it. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Nick. Why don't you open us up with a prayer, and then we will jump into this Try Not to Laugh challenge.
All right, let's do it. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for everything you've given us. Thank you for allowing us to gather here together and be together in this non-conventional way, Lord. Thank you for allowing us to slow down our lives to an extent during all this and kind of get back to the roots of everything, right? Getting to interact with families more and having time together, just truly being together, Lord. Bless everyone, keep everyone safe during this time. As we're outdoors more and it's getting warmer, protect everyone health-wise, and bring us all together, Lord. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Yeah, that does. How do you feel about things opening up real quick, Nick, before we jump into the game?
I'm not a huge fan of it, right?
Yeah.
I think we're maybe going a little too quickly.
You think so?
I think so.
Why do you say that?
Well, you know, there's just no guarantee as to what's happening, right? So I get at some point we have to like bite the bullet.
Get back out there?
Get back out there. But, you know, it might not be the best idea. I think waiting, there'd be no harm, right? No harm in waiting.
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe not. We won't get too far into
Yeah.
that. I just was curious kind of what you were thinking. And so we're going to jump into a try not to laugh challenge. And not try. We're not going to do the jokes this time. We are not creating the laughs. We have had a video prepped for us. And it says it's the hardest try not to laugh challenge.
I don't believe it.
But me and Nick, we decided to make it a little more extreme.
Did we?
Well, you said that we were not going to do a smile or laugh.
I'm about ready to smile right now.
Are you? Oh, look, he's already there.
Exactly.
So we are. We're going to watch this. We're going to pause it occasionally and respond and react. So this is a live reaction. Neither of us has seen this. Katie, Nick's girlfriend, had picked it out for us. Thank you, Katie. Shout out to you.
She's not watching. I can tell you right now.
Well, if she does, shout out to her. If not, Brady says he's seen all of the hard vids and they're not that funny. That's because you have no soul, Brady.
Oh.
I'm just joking.
That's a bit much.
That's a little hardcore. I apologize.
Yeah, that's a lot.
I'm just getting my savageness together. It's a mentality I'm trying to set going into this.
I see. I mean, I don't really have a comment to that other than I see. Right. So, are we ready? I guess?
I think we are ready. The only question is I can't hear anything right now. Are we good?
Can you hear it now?
I can hear you. Are we going to hear the video?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
The video's not playing. Your volume knob was also turned all the way down.
Okay.
All right.
Got it.
Ready?
Let's do this.
Just got roast.
Try not to laugh, part 4. All right. No smiling from here on. We got some tennis. Wait, are they actually making those sounds?
I have no clue.
Not funny.
I don't know why. It was so not funny that it was funny.
Well, I laughed because you laughed. Oh, that poor cat, though.
I wasn't ready for that.
Have you seen that video where that guy grabs a vacuum and runs by somebody eating a sub and sticks it to it, and then he picks it up and takes it and eats it?
Oh, that's a bit much.
That's hardcore. All right, we both got one there.
Yeah.
All right, let's do this.
1 second. I'm trying to...
The tennis thing was just Michael Jackson sounds. Okay, thanks for the clarification, Caleb. But, have you ever heard Serena Williams play?
She does. I'm sorry, I flipped us on the screen down there.
Okay.
Because we were the opposite. So I pointed to you and I was like pointing the opposite direction.
Okay.
Sorry.
Well, Serena Williams has this like grunt. She like, ugh!
She does.
It's scary.
I call it the caveman grunt.
He says the names are wrong though.
They are wrong.
Oh.
Oh, man.
Visual or... All right. We're a professional stream now. Here we go.
Look at that.
Low tier program from Caleb.
Right. Caleb. It's whatever.
All right. Here we go.
All right.
That's got to be the best parrot I've ever seen. So it would seem.
Your laugh makes me smile. It wasn't even that good. Oh,
I just knew it was going to be something so stupid.
I'm so salty right now.
I'm sorry.
I smiled because of you.
All right, we ready?
All right, I gotta tune you out. I need to be in another room. All right.
I don't know.
My name's Jeff.
Faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive.
And it's strong enough to pick up pancake.
What?
Oh, now we're talking.
The Mountain Dew.
Tell me the man's name that starts with the letter K. Kentucky Fried Chicken.
In the days of analog television, the actual signal that made up the images to be put on the screen wasn't a set of instructions on how to build an image using pixels.
We're gonna have to start.
Pause it. Pause it. If you gotta catch up, let's pause.
I was like starting to watch it.
Kentucky Fried Chicken.
All right, we'll start right there. All right, we're ready. Name a person that starts with the. And like the crazy thing was, I think that guy's name was Kevin.
But Kenneth was already taken.
Oh, was it up there?
Yeah.
Tell me the man's name that starts with the letter K. Kentucky Fried Chicken.
In the days of analog television, the actual signal that made up the images to be put on the screen wasn't a set of instructions on how to build an image using pixels. Rather, it was a complicated high-frequency signal of continually varying intensity that contained rudimentary triggers to help a television build a coherent image based upon that signal's instantaneous strength, which corresponded to image brightness at a particular point on the screen.
Okay.
True.
Oh, man. You know, what he said was true, though.
I'm glad. Sorry, if you see us looking off to the side, that's because our video's over here to see it live.
I can put it over here for you.
Is this a dude meme? All right, you tell us along in the chat. Start counting your score now. Okay? Tell us when you smile.
There you go, Nick. We got it over here now, too.
Okay. Whoa. I'm still going to look at this one, though. I'm just checking.
What I want.
Nothing.
It's pretty good. Pretty good. What are they saying?
All right.
All right.
No, we got one that's got two. So.
Yeah.
I would be so mad.
I think it's pretty good, right?
I'd be so mad.
Hey, Jacob.
You've been hacked. I had a dog that did that one. That's so awesome. How long
It's
is
still
it
not
go?
over.
I feel like something loud's about to. Oh, you're frozen.
All right.
You good?
I need to regroup. Though it's not as bad as last time.
Yeah, I mean, this is a pretty good game.
All right.
Let's keep going.
All right.
Box, come to my hand.
Where's the dog going? Oh my gosh! That poor dog! Wow!
What would have been funnier is if the airbag went off.
Oh, poor dog.
Oh, man.
My dog would totally do that, says Samantha. Facts.
It's a living thing. Larry and Melinda.
Popsicle bite.
Where did she get popsicle from?
I don't know. I want to know what it was.
Honeysuckle bush. Popsicle bite.
Keep trying. Keep going.
Guys,
Oh, man.
Hey guys, it's the best day of the year. You know why? Because there's a chicken and he's crossing the road. Holy moly! Are you kidding? Why did the chicken cross the road?
What's inside the ball that pops? What's inside the ball that pops is... Wow! It's Hercules. It's Simba.
It's free real estate.
Wow.
It's not even that funny.
It's free real estate.
Oh, man.
Oh.
Oh, this is about to be... Are you ready?
Yo,
You know
I
what?
love
I know what it
DMX.
is. I've seen this video.
Oh, okay.
This one, not because I watched this ahead of time, but
Okay.
Make me lose my mind. Up in here, up in here. Y'all gon' make me go all out. Up in here, up in here.
I like his pad level, James. Open field runner. Yeah. Hey, look at
I
him go.
like his
The
pad
20.
level.
Wes, he might do it.
Go! Go all the way!
Oh my goodness, buddy, do it.
Do it! Do it! Touchdown!
Man, he's my favorite scorer.
I tried. I tried a little extra to get you to laugh.
I think that was at a Georgia game.
Worn out.
That was not. That's like Louisville. Oh,
Hey
poor
guys,
guy.
I'm going to the park. Never mind, there's people there.
True.
Eat this.
Relatable.
I
A double hot.
double dog dare you.
Marco! Hello! Marco! Hello! Marco! Hello! Marco!
I was so primed. I tried so hard not to laugh.
I was good for that last, right until the last.
I know. Polo.
All right, let's.
That was terrifying, actually.
Marco! Hello! Marco! Hello! Marco!
Oh, I jumped. It's like musical chairs. What's gonna happen?
You can say they're chasing tail.
Why are they doing that?
I think they're following one another.
Are your eyes closed?
That guy tried so hard.
I was not expecting that.
He tried
Turkey
so
circle.
hard. So hard to avoid getting hit.
I know.
That's like, have you seen the newscast with the lady? She's reporting on the news. And this, it's like during a hurricane, the sign just like,
No.
live television on like the Weather Channel. She's
Oh,
like,
I've never seen
we're
that.
out here and it's real windy and it's, and she just,
That's awesome.
I was like,
All right.
oh, that hurt. All right.
Yeah, let's go.
All right. Well, we got my colorblind brother these glasses, so he's about to see color for the first time in his entire life.
Oh no!
All right, put them on, and open your eyes. See, he's just speechless. He's overwhelmed by the. Oh, that sucks.
Folks were told to stay off roadways.
That's just so mean. Oh man!
You know that's a fake video.
I hope so.
I really hope so.
Absolutely, positively necessary.
I wanted donuts.
But they still came out to...
Pete?
I want donuts.
Oh, absolutely necessary.
To stay off the roads. I wanted donuts.
That's
That's
have
like
you
the
seen that
Corona
video
thing,
about the
right?
Corona where it's like, only go outside if it's necessary. But then if it's necessary, don't go outside. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, they changed it every other...
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
It's just funny.
A-R-A-K-G-G-T. Penguin.
Oh, no.
All right,
I'm a sucker for church fails. Because I just...
This is Talking Carl.
This is Talking Carl.
He repeats everything you say.
He repeats everything you say.
And he's gonna get in a fight.
And he's gonna get in a fight.
My voice is higher than your voice.
My voice is higher than your voice.
Is this legit?
Yeah.
Yikes. This goes
Okay, it's nighttime, it's super dark, and you're lying in bed, and you're like, hey, I want to see some stars. But how are you going to see some stars with all these closed blinds in your room? Well, let's just open the blinds and maybe we're going to see some stars out today.
Oh, no. I feel like I'm going to laugh at this.
No.
123?
I'm sorry.
Jeez.
Oh,
Oh my god, I love Chipotle. Chipotle is my life.
I love Chipotle. That's pretty good.
Some of these end ones I've seen before.
Okay. See, I don't
And
watch
they're-
these
and they're
compilations
still
like
funny.
ever.
They're still hilarious. All right.
Uh-oh.
Slammed about 3 hours ago and what? Wait a minute.
Is somebody
surfing a huge wave out there. Oh. A person was...
That's impressive.
That's actually cool. You're getting all the cringy dances today.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
We made it.
I lost by 7.
Boker.
Much better than last time.
Do we do it again?
No.
No?
No. I don't know what we do. What if we take
What should be the repercussions?
I don't know.
You lost.
Water.
I won.
I know, but I don't want water poured on my head again.
Please. Brady says he wants more.
More. Maybe we'll do it next.
We'll have to do it again. We're not gonna do more tonight. We still got some stuff to talk about, and then maybe we have some word shark later. He says double or nothing. How about this? Okay.
Question: how would you double or nothing with a cup of water? 2 cups of water?
Okay, wait. How about, since somebody needs to be there to have like a cleaned palate so that they can clearly talk, how about you're the person who does the hot sauce challenge with the guest?
That's fine. Because I'll be the biggest baby ever. I love hot food, but then hot food does not like me.
How's that sound, guys? Do y'all want to see Boker do it, or do you want to see us all do it?
No, we need an MC.
Like, we need somebody who's kind of intermediate.
I know.
Or we're never going to get through it.
That day. Yeah. We'll have to talk about how we're going to do that.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, guys, we're going to jump into a little bit of a conversation time. I'm going to turn myself down on the headset. We're going to jump into a little bit of a conversation about, we're going to actually talk about grief today, and a recognition that grief that we're going to talk about is not just loss of a life, okay? Grief is going to be something we kind of talk about in general and with all the potential situations in mind, okay? You good with that?
Yeah.
You aware of that? Nick, I know that recently you've actually encountered some grief in your life, and maybe we'll get there later. I'm not going to start there, obviously, but I think this is one that hits close to home for a lot of us, especially as we.
I'm going to take that Velcro away from you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm a fiddler. I need something else to fiddle with, but I think. Thank you. We have an opportunity to really encounter grief and talk about grief and recognize that it's not just something only a couple of us go through. Especially in times like this, in these unprecedented times, as people say, which I agree, they are unprecedented by all accounts. But it gives us an opportunity to learn how to go through things in a different light.
Absolutely.
So if I were to talk about grief in your eyes, Boker, how would you define grief, and how would you say it feels? Like, can you describe the feeling of grief?
I mean, it's not fun, right? It just kind of feels like, at least for me, it feels like just heaviness, if that makes sense. Like just a heavy, like, weight, right? And I've read articles and done research on stuff, and they talk about grief, and they talk about like grief is a box and there's a ball in that box, right? So there's a box and there's like a button, say like a button that is grief, and that ball at first is so large it's always pressed up against the button, right? And like as time goes on, that ball gets smaller and it's like bouncing around in the box. So like grief can constantly hit you no matter what. Like, sometimes it'll just randomly like hit you and it'll come in hard, come in fast, it'll hurt, and it kind of eventually goes away. And it's kind of, when you put it in that regards of it being a box and a button on the wall and this ball bouncing around, it'll hit it and it'll hurt. But it can like 15 years down the road, if something traumatic happens, it can trigger it. I think, and it's random, right?
I think that's a great place to kind of acknowledge and start with, is that if you've ever experienced grief, if you've ever jumped into grief, that grief isn't something you just walk through and be totally done with. because grief has the opportunity to. I like the bouncing ball analogy, like it's just kind of pinging around, and then every now and then it could just be something triggers and it just goes boom, and you're like, oh wow, like it just kind of comes up and it kind of rears its ugly head per se.
Absolutely.
But I want to make sure everybody understands and can be really honest with themselves and understand that grief is something that you're all going to experience sometime if you're not experiencing it now or if you've never experienced it.
It definitely will happen.
Yeah.
It's inevitable.
And I think we have to understand that in a lot of ways the Bible promises us sufferings. We talked about that. Actually, there's an author, his name is C.S. Lewis. He actually has a quote that I want to read you guys. Yeah, C.S. Lewis is a famous Christian author. If you haven't heard of him, go check him out. He's got a ton of books. So he's been around a long time. It says this: "We were promised sufferings," which you said, "and they were part of the program. We were even told blessings are for those that mourn, and I accept it. I've got nothing that I haven't bargained for. Of course, it is different when the thing happens to oneself. And in reality, it's not imagination." I think that's very evident and very self-spoken. Like I don't think I even need to elaborate really on what he's saying, because I think it's very to the point. And I think it says that, hey, even though we acknowledge that grieving is part of it, even though we could talk with the straight, be like, yeah, God's got us, or yeah, that doesn't protect us from feeling grief when something finally hits us. Do you know what I'm saying, Nick?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think we have to understand that there are pieces and parts to it. And I would say, especially through this process of COVID, that I have been experiencing levels of grief. I wouldn't say that I've been like too down, but I find myself at moments hitting parts of these, and I recognize it as grief. And I just want to talk about what a few of those things are, and also kind of get some maybe personal story out there a little bit, and just kind of talk some. The 5 stages, and this comes from a lady. Her name is Dr. Elizabeth Kluber-Ross, and she says there's 5 stages. The first one is denial. The second one is anger. The third one is bargaining. The fourth one is despair, and the 5th one is acceptance. And when I say the word denial, Nick, have you ever experienced the denial factor in grief?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, when my mom passed, it just has, there are just times I'm like, nah, it's not real. I'm just waiting for her to come home from, like, you go through that, right? Like,
Just for those who might tune in that have never,
yeah,
can
absolutely.
you tell just a Cliff Notes version of that story?
Yeah, my mom passed away in July of last year.
Yeah.
And it was completely unexpected. Just kind of came home and she had passed. Like,
no warning.
No
nothing,
warning.
Right?
Wasn't sick. Perfectly healthy. Right. Just my dad came home from work. She worked from home, and she had just gone to sleep and didn't wake up. So I found out, and there's just the line of events that happen from there. So I don't know how in depth we want to go on that. So
No. It's
I'll talk about it. I'm pretty open about it. I
Sure.
just don't know.
Well, as we're kind of talking through this, think about that situation. Because I think it's great to share real life things that happen, and I think you brought up a point there with the sudden loss of your mom, that grief just happens.
Yeah.
This wasn't something he prepared himself for. This isn't something he had time to kind of adjust to beforehand. It was just like a snap of a finger, right?
Yep.
And I'll never forget that day either. Just because I remember we were at Stone Mountain and talking to you on the side of the lawn, and just really almost packing myself up and driving in the car just so I could get to be with you and all that stuff. But when you think about denial as one of the factors, and I think you expressed this to me at least before, is that you didn't feel like what happened was real. And I think as we're talking about COVID too, like I think at the beginning of all this, I was thinking like this is really kind of like the flu. It's not that big of a deal. We're all going to get through it. We're not even going to give it much time, right? We're just going to say, okay, here's a big deal, and then go. You know, it's kind of like, you know, some of the past diseases that have come up that just kind of came to life for a little while and then just kind of faded away.
Yeah.
I kind of assumed it was going to be like that. And actually, in this article that she wrote, she says that there's 3 ways denial sounds like today. And that's pretty much one of them. like I remember saying that myself before I ever read this article, and it was just interesting to hear that. Another one she said is that this whole thing is so overblown. What a media circus! I feel like I caught myself in that one too. Like I don't know how much. Do you pay a lot of attention to the news on this stuff, or do you kind of just catch up?
I pay attention to a certain extent. Right?
Yeah.
From being in the fire department, we get the press releases at least once a week.
Sure.
Right. So we get all the up-to-date information. So to an extent, I pay attention. I'm on Facebook, so naturally I see it. Now, I'm not like going
Whichever
home.
side that is.
Yeah, I'm not going home and watching Fox News or CNN for 5 hours to find out what's going on, right? I just kind of see what's happening.
Sure. I get that, and I think it's probably a good thing to kind of protect yourself from some of that stuff. I think if you live too much in it, it starts becoming a bigger issue, and it starts becoming maybe not the best for us. The next one was anger that she mentioned, and I have to admit there was a time last week even I was a little bit angry about all this stuff.
Yeah.
Because I just didn't like the like mirrors of trying to dodge around and be like, well, hey, from a distance, you know what I mean? Or like, or just the air handshakes, or talking from 6 feet away, or like everything just felt so impersonal. And then I was thinking, you know, like, I feel like in some ways, I think the mission trip, the church, we do a mission trip every year, and it's one of my favorite things we do each year. And I was mad that we had to postpone or cancel it for now.
Yeah.
And I was upset because I was like, man, we've done so much work to build up that ministry and the ministry here at the church. I mean, with first year we took like 20, like, right? 18 to 20. Last year we took like
18.
30.
18 with adults, and then we took, last year I felt like it was closer to 30 kids.
It was 30 total people last year, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the year before we took like 6 adults and had like 14 or 15 kids.
Yeah.
So each year it was growing, and it was something I was proud of, and I loved it because it was one of those times that like you really got to dig and dive deep with each other, and I just kind of felt like, oh, this thing keeps taking things away from me, you know, and I know other people have experienced that out there. I look at you seniors, I look at you sports people, and know that your seasons have been messed up. I know that your graduations have been changed and weirded out. I know you relate to me with that. You know, and I was looking for, like, I keep looking for someone to blame. Like, I even did a small, like, deep dive into, like, some of the conspiracy theory stuff this week, which I wouldn't recommend for anybody. Because it was probably just something that happened out of the blue. But, like, you know, you wonder where you want to find some of this stuff. And I think anger is just a piece and part of it.
I'll say this, right? So let's say, like, some crazy government conspiracy theory, like the government's behind it, or a foreign government's behind it. I look at it like this. God let it happen for a reason. Like, so even if it's a conspiracy theory, right? It's all happening for a reason. I don't know what that reason is, but like that's how I kind of like mentally go. Because I've heard the conspiracy theories, right? Yeah. And I'm like, you know, like some of their arguments are valid, right, or whatever. But I'm like, But that's not going to change anything in like what's happened.
I think in some ways I would say that I'm hesitant to give God the credit for it. But I think God can work in and through it.
Right.
I just, maybe he did.
Well,
but I just don't. I don't fully
like
see
this.
God sometimes that way.
Well, I look at it like this, right? So if you read the book of Job in the Bible, right, the devil came to God and was like, "Let me ruin this guy's life."
Right.
And God was like, "No." Then he came back and was like, "Let me ruin this guy's life. He'll fall away from me. Like he'll deny you." And God's like, "Okay." Like he wasn't. God didn't do it. He just allows things to happen, like to a certain extent, right?
Yeah,
that's how I kind of look at it.
Sure.
Like if God didn't want this to happen, it wouldn't have happened. In a way.
Well, I like. Well,
yeah,
we're getting into semantics at this point. I think it's important that we recognize that God can work through all things.
Yes.
But He doesn't necessarily create all things, in like that happen.
Right.
Like I don't see Him up there as a puppet master personally.
Well,
and I know that's not necessarily what you're saying.
Right.
But
yeah.
I'm just elaborating. Like I see things happen, and He can work in and through.
Correct.
And His impact on us at other times helps define a certain response that we're having in space.
Right.
Does that make sense? So anyway, to kind of keep rolling with that though, is I think anger is a part of grief that we don't necessarily recognize, and sometimes we don't know how to place it.
Yep.
And then bargaining. Have you ever bargained as a terms of grief? Do you know what I'm talking about when I say bargaining?
Yeah.
Like in this case, the author suggests that like it'd be like, oh, it's okay to spend time with others if they just kind of take the right precautions, or this will all be over by Easter. I'll chill out until then, or I know when people look sick and I'll just kind of stay away. Like you're putting more trust in your own process to make things happen, as opposed to doing what you think might be the right thing. Have you ever had that experience?
To an yes, but I don't really know how to elaborate on it, right?
Okay.
You know, like, I know I've gone through all this, but I don't know, I can't place, like,
so
this is the thing I did.
At the beginning of all this, or at the beginning of this stream, I asked you a question of, how do you feel about everything? Do you feel like you've caught yourself bargaining at all? Like, I don't think everybody should be out right now, but I'm going to go get Chipotle and stand in line with 15 people. Because I'm just going in and out, or I pre-ordered. Who knows what they've been doing, but I pre-ordered.
I mean, yes and no.
Yeah.
I've tried to limit what I've done, you know, like...
I mean, I have too. I'm not calling you out. I'm just saying.
Hey, I know we've both seen each other. Like last week, I was ordering Chipotle before we left, right?
That's right. Actually, I might get some Chipotle after this.
What?
I might get some after this.
I think I'm gonna get it after this too.
Oh,
I texted Katie. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, no, right? Because I just look at I still have a fairly, you know, doing landscaping. I'm still out and about.
Sure.
Right? So like I'm still I'm not sitting at home for hours on end. You know, like last night, like prepping everything for church. I left church 12:40 p.m. Got home at 1 a.m. Right. Went to bed for a couple hours. Woke up and was back by 7.
Right.
And then I've been from 7 a.m. until 6:51. I've been working on, you know, like I've been doing stuff. So it's like my life hasn't been impacted, I feel like, as many as like other people's lives where they're like, oh, well, I got laid off my job. And I have nowhere to go because I don't have any money to spend, so I can't, you know what I'm saying? Like they're just like, oh, I'm sitting at home all day.
And I think that's the next level that the author would suggest anyway, would be acceptance. Is like, oh, this is going to be what it's going to be. It's going to suck, but here we are. You know, like, it's just a cycle. And I think when we talk about grief, I think we need to understand that you might be in different phases of grief. You know, and I think that's in all these things. You know, whether it's something that happened a year ago, or whether it's something that you're currently living in, or whether it's somebody that you were close to that you don't see anymore, or whatever. Like, there are levels of grief to all things, and I want to make sure you understand that it's not just a loss of life. I think you can grieve losing a good friend. I think you can grieve not going to school right now. I think you can grieve the fact that you didn't get to go on a special trip that you were hoping to go on, or something like that, and give it credit. Here's what I do want to say about grief, and I think I've talked to Nick about this before too, is just don't feel like you have to suppress the grief. Like, I would highly encourage each of us to walk through the grief and understand the grief, understand the things that set us off in the grief. Because, you know, you mentioned the ball analogy, which I like, but does the ball ever stop bouncing?
No.
No. It might get smaller, and it might be less frequent that it peaks, but there's still a piece.
What I loved about that analogy, right? Because they're like, when it initially happens, that ball fills up that box.
Sure.
It's touching the button, right? So there's when something in life happens, that ball is so large, right? And it's pressing it, and it just feels like a weight, right? And so, like, as time goes on, the weight kind of feels like it disappears. But when it hits that button, all that weight comes back, you know. And sometimes I like to think of it like this: like, that ball speeds up, like, as it's bouncing around.
Yeah.
And so, like, when it hits that button, it hits it harder, and then it hurts just that much. You know, like, I know I've been in situations that, like, I feel like I'm doing pretty well with dealing with everything with losing my mom, right? And I'll just be, like, mowing a lawn, right? And just something just, like, it's like
slams into you like a truck.
It's like I drive into a brick wall, right? Like, I just, bam. I'm like, oh. Right? And it, like, dazes you, and you're like, oh, that really sucks, right? And that's the best phrase, right? You know, it's not the churchiest phrase, but it's the truest phrase.
I think that's like the first thing I said to you.
Sucks.
Isn't that like one of the first things I said to you?
You're like, hey, just so you know, this is going to absolutely suck.
Yeah, this absolutely sucks.
Thanks, I guess. You know, like,
I did not have any wise words of wisdom to say, like, you'll get through this. I said, man, this sucks. And I think that's just how it, like, sometimes you just have to say, this sucks. And recognize that sometimes you just gotta walk through the suck.
And I will say, like, and it's weird, right? Because we don't have everything. Like, when my mom passed, I mean, I know people from our church were there within, like, an hour, right? That was it was Laura's first week there. It was her second day working for the church, and she had to come because Matt was out of town, right?
Yeah,
so it was like, she was like, like a little overwhelmed, right? Like, because, like, second day in, you're having to go, like, talk about death, right?
Trial by fire.
But, like, I know, like, Andrew Farrell's mom, like, people from church were just there, right? And it was comforting. I know, like, when Melanie found out, Melanie Williams, the traditional worship minister of the church, she was like, hey, I found out. I'm like, yeah. She's like, okay, I'm coming over. And, like, that was it. Like, there was, like, no debate. Like, and, like, so many people were like, they would call me and be like, you need anything? You'd be like, no. Okay, well, I'm coming over anyway, right? Like, I had Dale Nitschke, he's, like, my mentor. I talked to him. He's like, okay, well, I'll come over. And I was like, no, don't. You know, like, all these people are here. The police are still here. Like, everyone's still here. And he's like, okay, well, I'll come by tomorrow. And, like, sure enough, at, like, 9 o'clock at night, he's there, like, knocking on the door. And he's like, hey, I'm like, hey, how are you? He's like, I couldn't be at home. Like, I couldn't not be here. And I think that was, like, the overwhelming response that, like, especially when you have a church or family or friends, when you go through something like this, and, like, I think it's great, not great, but, like, Corona has impacted everyone pretty much the same way.
Yeah.
So everyone's going through it, and you can lean on each other in that. Yeah. And I think that's the most important thing.
We don't have to question whether somebody can relate. You know?
No.
Like you don't have to do that guesswork of, oh, this is kind of a thing or not. You know what I mean? Like, you could just go, oh, yeah. Hey, you're going through this. How are you going through it?
Right.
And can I learn anything from you going through it? You know what I mean? So I want to read this verse real quick, and then I think we'll be about ready to kind of wrap this shindig up, guys. It says this. It says, "Blessed be the God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, the Father of mercies and the God of all comfort, who comforts us in all our tribulation, that we may be able to comfort those who are in any trouble. With the comfort which we receive ourselves are comforted by God." And I think that really just hits home the fact that God is a God of comfort, and God is a God of peace. And when we walk through this, whether it's COVID, whether it's tragedy in life, that God is with us. God hasn't abandoned us. God hasn't quarantined himself from us.
No,
he hasn't put on his mask and been like, yo, I got to stay 6 feet away from you. He is very much still here and very ever present with us now. And my prayer is that you have a chance to slow down and listen to him. You know, because if any of these things related to you here, any of these five qualities of grief, I'm going to say them again real quick: anger, denial, bargaining, despair, or acceptance. If you feel any of those, it's okay.
It's natural.
It's natural. I love that. It's natural, and it's something you can get through. And I want to reiterate this, that you don't have to walk through it alone. There are people all around you that are going through similar feelings, and we want to be there through this, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I just feel for you guys, because I know if I'm feeling this way, that you guys are feeling this in maybe a same way or a different way. You know, I don't want my kids to grow up in this. I hate the fact that they're going to lose potentially some of their summer. We went out and bought a pool this week.
When we go swimming.
Well, as long as you stay 6 feet away.
Mm-mm. When you're in the chlorine water, it's okay.
Oh, okay. But, you know, we bought a pool because we were like, what else are our kids going to be able to do this summer? Like, all the camps that we normally do are getting canceled.
Or they're going virtual.
Yeah.
Like, I know VBS is virtual.
VBS is virtual this year.
And it's like the great debate.
Grow Day Camp was canceled around here. We normally go to a couple other camps around town. Like, they're just getting canceled left and right. So we were like, we need something for our girls to do.
Yeah.
So we're like, you know what? Let's just do it. So we're going to figure out a way to make it happen. And maybe at some point we can have a few of you guys over to come hang out with us.
No, that's my private pool. Don't invite people.
I know. We also got a big. My wife's birthday's coming up. This time next week, she will already have had her birthday. So happy birthday, my lovely wife Rachel. I know. But she also got a big blow-up screen, and I borrowed Nick's projector, so we've been showing movies. Maybe we'll do some stuff where we can have a few of you guys out at a time and come hang out.
Not a dirty secret, but so during COVID, guys, right? This is the time that the church has decided to like upgrade everything, right? Like we're redoing the network, we're redoing the internet, all that, right? I was running cables the other day, right?
What else did you steal?
I found 4 projectors.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm dead serious. They're all like sitting on a shelf, and I will like walk by, and I was like, I like look back. I'm like, what do we have this many? But it's like, oh well, we upgraded, so then we stuck it on the shelf. Oh, we upgraded, so we stuck it on the shelf. So we have like 4 of the same exact. It's the projector that I have that you have. It's like 4 more of those.
For real?
For real.
We'll be talking after stream for a little bit. Anyway, guys, again, just let's let you know we really do love you guys, and we're thinking of ways that we could keep engaging over the summer. And I hope that if you have any ideas, that you'll just drop it off our way and help us make it happen. We are going to continue to do Nick and Nights through.
Yes, we are.
The summer, as to my best knowledge and understanding.
I'm just saying, I have a couple of vacations planned, and I've talked because I have a timeshare.
Sure.
And we see the same people every year, and we're friends on Facebook, and they're like, "We hope
to see
trip."
you.
Yeah, our hope the trip doesn't get canceled. And I was like, "I'm going to the beach.
Yeah,
I will live on the beach."
Which is fine.
I have to.
We will make some, and we might not be as frequent. There might be a couple weeks we take off, but just so you know that this is something we plan to kind of continue, and we do plan to have some small group get-togethers and stuff over the break. But this is your last week of school for those of you that are Cherokee County watching, and you're a student, so finish strong. And
congratulations to all the graduates. I guess.
Congratulations to all the graduates. We have quite a few. Be sure you tune in to services coming up here in the next few weeks. There might be some shout outs to you. And without further ado, this has been Nick.
And Nick.
And this has been Nick and Night. Guys, we love you. We appreciate you. And we'll see you next week.
No, you won't. You won't see us next week.
Not next week. Mother's Day.
Come on, Nick. Get it together.
After that. Oh.
We will see you. I'll give you the date. We will see you on the 17th of May. May
17th of May.
Right? All right, guys. This is Nick, and that's the guy that doesn't even know the schedule that he created. You created the schedule, and you messed it up.
Just end it.